Looks like we got a new friend! Looks like we got a new friend!
Welcome to the Scratchicus Academy. It is Dynama time, which I've been looking forward to all week. So I'm going to run through some of the channel bits so we can jump straight into it. First of all, Discord. If you're not there, you should be. It's full of really awesome people like you see here today. We talk TTRPGs, D&D, you name it, we talk about it. We also do have a chat room on our Discord for each campaign, so you can go and chat about Dynama in that one over there as well. Also, if you want to get into a game, drop Scrat a DM on Twitter. I know Monster of the Week is booked up to the end of the season, but we do still have some spaces left in the D&D games and also Ryutama. This will, all the previous episodes to this are up on YouTube, so you can go and check those out. And this one will be up in the next couple of days as well. And we are also full-time now, thanks to you wonderful people. And one of the ways to support us is via our Patreon. You can also find some really lovely free articles from the wonderful Renee. There she is. Look at her. Pretty. Who is now freelance. So definitely go and check out those as well. We also have merch, which you can see by Redbubble, and I think Scrat calls it put that crest on your chest. It's something like that. He was trying to get one to rhyme with inner thigh because of the leggings, but I'm not going to go there. We also have sponsors, one of them in the form of Bird in the Storm, which is our very own tool school and Bird vs. Plane, and also Mage Hand Press, who created the Dark Matter Alpha for reskin of D&D 5e in space, basically. So for all your spacey sci-fi D&D needs, head over there and check them out. Also, I believe every 10 retweets and every 4 followers, we get a trinket. We have already hit 11 So I'm going to hand over to Renee now. Hi, Renee.
Hi, yeah, we're starting out really strong. Last week, we couldn't even give out trinkets until like the very last few minutes of the episode. They made it in. They did make it in, but like, golly
was in
gee,
my body.
one was in Ben's body. So we're doing great, y'all. We're doing great. I'm so excited to be here. I've talked a little bit about it, but last week was like one of the biggest GM experiences of my tabletop role-playing life so far, and it's pretty cool to have had that experience with such an awesome cast. So we'll go around real fast, kind of say who everyone's playing, who they are, and what suit their character is, because in Dynama, which is a playset for the Weave Game by Monocle Society, we have 4 suits: Gales, Flames, Brooks, and Stones, and each of them kind of represents a different skill or ability. So let's go around and we'll go ahead and do Alice again. We'll start with you.
Hello, I am Alice and I'm playing Umako, who is of the Gales sort of card. She's sort of 17, 18 years old. This is her first experience out, I think, of where her normal daily life. She normally rears and sells reindeer, and she's kind of loving this new group of people, even though she doesn't really know how to deal with them or the situations they've been thrown into. But also she's pretty in love with her stag Brund, and also this frog that she gained, which now either sits in her hand or her pocket most of the time.
It's a very precious frog.
It's an adorable frog. Love it.
Julie, who are you playing this week?
Well, thankfully not a different character. I am playing Fen, who is our stone suit character that's themed more around like strength and constitution kind of things. Fen had a bad day, and we're hoping to have a chiller time, at least for a few days.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, for sure. For those who may have missed last week, I highly recommend checking it out on a YouTube, because it was pretty epic, and Finn barely escaped with their life. They're here, which is great, but it was a very near miss, courtesy of Sierra's actually signature move, which is something that I will talk about more here in a minute after we introduce Kelly.
Oh, hi. I'm Kelly. I play Skylar, who is a Flames character. That means she's kind of intelligence and based. Skylar also has a lot of experience with the Dynama, which is kind of the magical, mystical who's who what's it's in this particular universe that Renee has created. And she travels from town to town, from outpost to village, just kind of all over the place, healing those who need help but may not otherwise be able to afford the assistance. All after she decided to leave home one day. And now she's found herself with this merry band, and she has been put to work, especially after last week. But man, the whole time, every single episode, she's patching somebody up. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was a rough week for everyone involved, but they're managing it the best that they can, including Sierra. Jay, would you like to introduce her?
Hi, I'm Jay, and I'm playing Sierra. She is the Brooks character. She used to travel town to town telling fortunes, and right now she's feeling kind of stressed about the fact that she's not living with all the luxuries that she's used to. But she is excited by the fact that last week she had this pretty major premonition that came true, right away. So it seems that like her powers might be increasing or something, or the Dynama is just wacky. But either way, Sierra is intrigued and excited and ready to see what the world of Dynama has in store for her.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure that there's so much in store. As I mentioned before, last week was a wild week and very stressful, but we were completely saved by Sierra's signature move, which is something that each of the characters in Weave have. Each of the characters is built by scanning in tarot-like cards, which I can show you an example of. And once that is scanned in, you can like choose options for your characters. And for each of these characters, they also got to choose a signature move. We have only seen Sierra's signature move so far, but you can help see more signature moves with donations of £10 to activate it for each of the characters, so we can find out what more of them are. And it was incredibly epic and incredibly amazing. So thank y'all for making that happen last week, or else we would have lost a character. So real rough. Thanks y'all. So to hop on in, Fen has been unconscious for a while now. She was doing okay at the very beginning when the first early surgeries began. Thanks to Skylar, who was there at her side, able to address some of the more immediate wounds thanks to the herbs that she had on hand, as well as some provided by the encampment that they are currently staying in. But Fenn's condition still was not good, and they needed a lot of recovery. Skylar, you've kind of wrapped up your job as a healer in this capacity. You had the help of Sierra. You had the help of the girl who brought you herbs, who's actually from the encampment. You found out her name was Naomi in the course of this stressful, but overall it went very well, kind of impromptu operation on Fen. So it's taken a lot of work, but you've dressed their wounds, you've stitched them up, and you've put some salve on their burns. What are you wanting to do?
So now that everyone that she's been charged or has taken over caring for has been patched up, she would probably just let anybody else know who's in the room that they were just playing a waiting game, and let her know if anything changes. And there were the geese. Stop.
It's the geese. We can hear the geese from here.
Courage color game.
Sorry, y'all.
Oh, you're good.
And then she got some more details from Bastion last time about this man riding a mech that attacked them. And this man looked in bad shape. They looked in bad shape. We don't know if it was a man or a woman or non-binary individual. They were in bad shape, and they looked like they had some kind of disease that Skylar had not recognized before. All she knew was that they were hurting. Bastion, however, told Skylar last time that that's what people look like when they've spent time in the decay. And so immediately Skylar wants to know if she can find this person's body, or maybe even only pieces, depending on where they were when the big boom happened, to see if she can learn anything else about this disease. She also might, if Bastion is around, drag him with her through this process.
Okay, yeah, I think when you first kind of complete this process with Fen, Naomi is most easily on hand as far as like your connections to the members of this encampment. And she kind of, you know, like dusts her hands off. Yes, I imagine I know where they would take the body. I can ask around and be sure, and we can go look. Are you sure you don't want to get some sleep first? You seem tired.
Yeah, I can sleep after. Really, if the we don't have a lot of time where that body is going to be in the shape where I can get information out of it, if you know what I'm saying. So
I understand.
So I'd rather do this quickly. And so Bastion seemed to know that that's what people look like who spent time in the decay. Do you know anything about the decay?
I know a little bit about the decay. I know mostly what our messengers and scouts bring back. I know that it's potentially deadly and dangerous and fraught with machines, and that it's growing regularly and it burns to be in.
Well, has anybody from camp spent time there that looked like, you know, how would you guys know that that's what it looks like unless, you know,
There was someone, a scout, who ventured in a while back. They didn't stay long enough to get into, I'm going to say, unsalvageable conditions. But they do have scars. They might be willing to talk to you about them.
Yeah, so I'd like to see the body and whoever that was.
Okay. And she kind of pulls you out of this. It's a small cabin made mostly of machine parts and rounded off, leaving the rest of the party behind. Fen primarily is recovering. Mare is still recovering, and Magda and Umiko left the battle feeling pretty injured last time as well. So she leads you out, and it is dark. The fires that were still alight when you first took Finn inside are petered out by now. A few ashes still sparking, but nothing alight. No warm fire glow. It's pretty silent. And she leads you across to the other side of the clearing where the explosion was. And sure enough, most of it has been cleared away by now. You can still see the scorch marks burned into the tree and the grass that has been blackened and burned. And she kind of steps through it carefully and gestures to you and leads you into the woods. She has just a little lantern to kind of light the way that she picked up on the way out of camp, and explains to you as you go, I can't imagine they'll do more with it until tomorrow. I don't know that this soul will get a proper burial. We don't know their name. We don't know who they were, but whatever happened, we're going to make sure that the respects are paid. The machine, well, if any parts are salvageable, we'll see if we can use them around camp, repurpose them, add them to cabins. And oh, here we are. And She holds up the lantern, and there are a number of gravestones. They're tall and thinly carved out of stone, and they'd have simple names carved into along the sides. And there are a good number of them, a couple dozen, out here near this encampment. And she says, probably won't get one of these, or unmarked at least. And she kind of walks around the statues over to a side where there's a patch of ground. No hole has been dug yet, but and we just hit 20 retweets. Oh my gosh, y'all. Okay, we'll get some of these trinkets in the scenes in a minute, but thank y'all so much for your support. And sure enough, the body, what is left of it, has been carefully laid. It's not like discarded or anything, but it's hard to really treat this with respect. There's not a lot left. Also, thank you so much to 12-Sided Guy for the donation. Kelly gets a single die reroll for that, for Weave, because you have a dice pool that you can roll for each challenge, and on rerolls you can reroll the full pool. And for I think for other games it is temporary HP. For this game you can reroll a failure to try and get a success. So this body is here, and she kind of holds the lantern out to you to let you do whatever you need to do.
And Skylar would take the lantern from here and head over to the body, and just, I think at first she would just examine it from just like a physical point of view, from her medical training point of view, to see like what's happening externally. Get a lay of the land kind of thing. And then after that, if anyone was watching, they'd probably see her kind of settle, maybe like kneel down next to the body even closer, kind of settle in, and she would probably try and look through the Dynama as well. Okay.
So I'm going to ask you to roll me a Flames Challenge 2. For Flames, we use 5s as the equivalent in Roll20. And so we'll need at least 2 5s and 6s to kind of, and we're going to do this just all in one, as kind of like your autopsy of sorts, including the part externally and the part with the Dynama as well. So if you want to include whatever talents you feel would be relevant for both.
Yeah, hold on one second. I knew I forgot to pull up something that was my character sheet.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, so I have the base of 3 plus 1, because this is a Flames challenge. And then I think I would use my clear intent, that Dynama reacts to the people and things it surrounds, and I'm skilled at interpreting the meaning of those reactions. This is both of people and now kind of a thing, depending on your philosophical beliefs on that. And then I've also studied anatomy and medicine to treat illnesses, tend wounds, and save lives. So I feel like those two things would be part of her autopsy, for lack of a better term. So that would be 6.
Yeah, let's go ahead and use all 6 then.
We're looking for 5s.
5s or 6s.
So
Perfect.
2.
Okay. So while not like an epic success or anything, that does pass the challenge. So It's difficult to say because even with the past, this is a difficult thing to do.
Can I use my one reroll and just see if I can get an epic?
Well, you would
Or
need
a hard?
I think you're 2 away from getting an epic success,
Okay.
so you might want to save it for when you
Yep.
are closer. So as you start like kind of picking at this now, the skin is very burned because this figure was very, very close to the explosion, and it's hard to make out what exactly was going wrong. But as you start to kind of inspect the Dynama and really get close to this figure and start to investigate past just what others can see, you begin to see colors of anger and the Dynama is in somewhat of a disarray. They're very bright, they're very bold, but not in the same way as the typical rainbow that you see around you in the layer of Dynama over the world. These colors are stark and almost painful to look at. And as you look at this figure and start to really investigate the Dynama around them, it's very wrong. And it's almost like the Dynama is reacting to whatever is within this figure.
Okay, and I think Skylar would be a little shaken because this is not something she's seen before. I mean, the decay is something she's never seen before. So she's very unnerved. But she would just kind of stand back up and take the lantern over to Naomi and be like, I mean, I've seen all there is to see. There's not a lot.
I'm sorry there isn't more. That explosion affected, well, a lot.
Yeah, but it's good that I came now. You know, better to know that we don't know than to wonder.
That's true. And you do feel like you have everything you can. This body will be buried tomorrow.
And I think she would take out an empty vial, probably, and she would see if she could basically collect like an autopsy sample of of skin that hadn't been burned as badly, but that shows this infection.
Okay, yeah. With your previous success on your autopsy, you're able to find kind of like a sample to take with you. It's not big and it's not as ideal as something in where the specimen was less damaged, but it is something that you're able to take with you.
I mean, we can always study this some more. I think this will take more than a tired moment's look to figure out. But if you did know where that scout was, they might be able to give me some more information. But
Yes.
that might have to wait till the morning.
I think you should get some rest, and they probably are too by now. But I can introduce you, probably once they get back from scouting tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry. I'm very much used to dealing with problems like this until they're solved. It's hard to have to rely on somebody else and have to take a break. It's not normal for me.
Do you think you can take a break? Maybe, is there anything else I can do? I don't know. Maybe some fresh water, or I might have some herbs that would make a good tea if you needed something to help you relax.
In fact, I think the whole group could use some tea.
Okay, I'll bring some tea by the cabin before I go to bed, and I will see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's talk tomorrow. Let's talk to this. I appreciate your willingness, Naomi, to make these introductions. I know it seems odd, but the more we can find out, the easier, hopefully, it'll be to figure out why this happened in the first place.
I'm happy to help, and I saw what you all did out there earlier tonight, and it's not often we have strangers, and I feel like it's not often that strangers would roll into a camp and help them when they're faced with danger. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, like that's something that good people do. I appreciate that you're good people.
Thank you. I mean, this is just my life, kind of. It's just, I don't really have any other purpose.
Maybe so, but we are grateful all the same. And we're grateful to Fen, and we'll be sure to tell them that when they wake up. And she kind of nods, and she leaves the lantern with you in case you need it to get back to your cabin.
And I would make her way back, but it would be with much less purpose than before. I think she's kind of deep in thought, trying to remember and catalog everything that she had seen over the last few days, or the last day. This is the end of the first day. And,
Shucks, we haven't moved on yet.
And so she'd just be kind of very slowly make her way back, and then as she comes up to the cabin door, she just kind of like, oh, back to dealing with people. And she would go inside.
Perfect. And big thank you to Matt Hoadley for that cheer that also got Fen a reroll. So, which she probably needs. So appreciated. Does anyone... Oh, yeah. Does anyone else have something that they would like to do either before going to bed this first night or in the early hours of the next day? Fen is kind of out of this due to their being somewhat unconscious after the trauma of the battle and the explosion.
Kiddo needs a nap.
Probably early the next morning, like first thing in the morning, Sierra would want to visit the leader of this town, whoever they may be. I think I recall the name Bastion.
Yes. Yeah. So, how early does Sierra usually rise?
Well, Sierra gets up really early because she has to spend some time doing her hair, of course.
Of course.
Today, she's done a braid that kind of, it like bulges in certain places, and then it gets like thinner in places, and it has strands that break off. It's like this really intricate braid. But unfortunately, she's still wearing her beat up robes from the day before, but she can take care of her hair, so that's what she will do.
Okay. So yeah, when you wake up in the morning, it's pretty quiet in here. There's a lot of people who are resting and recovering. I don't know. Okay, quick question. Is anyone in this party a heavy snorer? Miko, no.
Miko is the lightest sleeper there is, but she's probably just propped herself up, leg up, probably looking down at her hand where the frog is.
Yeah, I think Skylar's like sleep in a teeny tiny ball, used to sleeping in like the woods, like camping a lot. So like,
Yeah.
set up. She's designed to just curl up and pass out wherever the nearest convenient space is. So
It's unusual to have a bedroll, so Skylar may sleep pretty well tonight, actually. And Umiko almost looks like she might be awake, except she's not. She's like asleep holding this frog in her hand. Fen is pretty knocked out. Mare is passed out. Magda is not far away in the bedroll nearest to him on the other side. And she is sound asleep as well when you wake up. And it's early hours just before dawn, as the sun starts to rise and the sky starts to lighten as you are braiding your hair. And as you... Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna add some for flavor. As I'm braiding my hair, I'm definitely kind of hyping myself up, and I'm feeling really good today, because my powers are growing. Yesterday I had this crazy vision. My powers are growing. I'm gonna be famous. Like, this is it. Like, this is my chance, to make a name for myself. That's how I'm feeling today. That's the energy.
Yeah. It's a good start. The sun is coming up. And as the sun starts to come up, people start to come out of some of the other cabins around the encampment. And you recognize from the night before Bastion, because he was across from you as you kind of addressed Fen's wounds post the explosion. And he emerges from a cabin in the center of the camp that is actually up in the trees on stilts. And he comes down this metal stairway that's wrapped around a tree. And he looks like he has his bow over his back and a quiver slung on his other shoulder. And his the crown that many of the scouts wear as they kind of gather in this clearing has that kind of resting on his forehead.
Excuse me, sir. Bastion, is that your name?
Hi, hello, yes. Don't eat my brownie.
Pleasure to meet you. My name is Sierra. You've probably heard of me. Known across the lands as the Soul Whisperer.
Soul Whisperer. Yes. Yes. I.
You've heard of my feats.
Yes.
Which one was your favorite?
Fair. I have not heard of you, no. But you did make it sound like I should, and
you definitely should have.
I look forward to learning of them then. I'm so sorry for this dog who's driving me crazy today. I love her. Okay. And he kind of, he has a patient smile on his face. His eyes do keep kind of darting over your shoulder to where a number of other people are gathering, scouts, you assume, with from the information you've gathered since arriving at camp, and just kind of what Bastion know.
Now, it seems like you're eager
Naomi.
to...
Sorry.
It's okay. It seems like you're eager to go and talk to your scouts, but as one of the few who defended your village last night, I'm sure you can take a minute to speak with me.
You're right, of course, and I am just used to the routine of the day. How can I help you? Sierra, it was?
Sierra, correct. The Soul Whisperer.
Would you prefer me call you the Soul Whisperer?
Oh, no. You can call me Sierra. But
Okay.
just... You can just let your friends know that I'm the Soul Whisperer.
Right. Tell them you're the Soul Whisperer. Got it.
I'm known for my fortunes. I'm a fortune teller. I travel from town to town, telling people of their bright future. Because I do believe that everyone has a bright future, and all those that I meet have the brightest of futures. Especially my own. And I don't know exactly where we are. I don't know exactly how we got here. I'm thinking that we could become good friends. We can start to settle in, me, my friends, and I. And I think that we have a lot to offer you and your town. If you don't mind, may I take your hand?
Yes. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. The dog has been taken away, but the cat came in, and it's all just, yeah, got it. He kind of nods, he smiles, and he says, well, of course, as you so rightly pointed out just moments ago, you did help save our camp, so you're
We
welcome.
didn't help save your camp. We saved your camp.
Yes. Yes, you did. You could tell that, like, it's a little bit more strained now. Like, his smile's just, you've dealt with people before. You know that this is a little bit fake. But he smiles and says, no, yes, you did. And we are very grateful, and we understand that a number of your own are wounded. You have a place to stay. As long as you need it. You're welcome.
Oh,
Now,
I'm so grateful.
we do ask for some contributions in return if any of you are willing and able. Nothing would be asked, of course, of Fen. I understand that they're in quite bad condition, and that a number of others of your group have a ways to go to recover as well. But I'm sure we could discuss that at a later time when I return from scouting for the day. As for your other request, you want to what?
I'd like to take your hand for a moment.
Okay, but that is a very strange request.
This is what I do.
I see.
And I make strong eye contact with him. And I put my hand out and I say, trust me.
His smile is, his eyes are a little bit bigger than his grin. But he sticks his hand out as if he's gonna, like, shake your hand.
And I hold that eye contact, and I glow a little bit brighter, and I take his hand, like he might have his hold his hand out to shake, and I, like, delicately, like, caress his hand, and
his eyes become less wide as he kind of, like, what is this person doing?
And I heat his hand up a little bit so it feels like he's holding, like, a cup of, like, hot tea or something. Very comforting. Like a comforting warmth.
That's a nice trick you've got there. And as you do this, you see a glimpse of Bastion's life. You never know whether these glimpses are past, present, or future, except for the security of context clues and what those might provide. And as you see this glimpse of Bastion's past, you see this clearing when there are only metal parts scattered around it. You see Bastion standing with a piece of paper, blueprints really, and friends around him holding tools and pieces of metal as this camp met its beginnings. And that is the glimpse that Sierra sees of Bastion's life.
So you established this camp. You were not born here.
No. Yes. Yes, no. I myself and a couple of friends built it. You knew that.
I did.
Fancy.
I'd also just like to point out a talent that I have at this point. That I know my stuff. People view me as an authority and are willing to believe what I state as fact. So,
Okay.
I just feel like that's something to be aware of. Like,
Okay.
as I'm conversing, just wanna, but this is. So, where were you before you established this camp?
Is this? I came from a town south of here. It's a few days' travel.
What was the name of this town, if you recall?
Norton Hills?
Norton Hills. Do I recognize the name?
Yeah. Yeah. With Sierra's travels, it's a smaller town, about the same size as Mellowary, actually. It's not a full city. And it's medium-sized, has a lot of farmland in the surrounding areas. It's not close to a great many of the old world ruins, and therefore doesn't tend to encounter as many machines. And it's a pretty peaceful place.
Well, it's good to know that we're still on the same plane of existence. When we appeared here, we had no idea where we were, but it's good to have some frame of reference.
Ah, yes, I understand. I've found myself lost before.
We were not merely lost. We were consumed by the Dynama.
As your companions told me, I have to confess it is a very compelling story and one that I have never heard tell of before.
It was a crazy day yesterday, let me tell you that. Do you have any people in your camp that are well versed in Dynama?
There might be one or two who are familiar with the magic, but Dynama and knowledge of it is pretty rare.
Yes, it is. Well, I appreciate your compliance and your willingness to host us for the time being. So, thank you for that.
And thank you for saving the encampment.
Did you see how I melted that bear's face off? It was kind of awesome.
I did see how you melted that bear's face off. Very, very, very neat.
And I'm gonna turn with like a whip of my braid. And actually might like smack him in the face a little bit, but and I'm gonna kind of, without saying goodbye or anything, just kind of walk back to the cottage.
Right. Yeah, he kind of sniffs and heads the other direction. and you arrive back at the cottage. Does anyone else have something that they would like to do? Someone that they would like to speak to in this time? Okay. So the day wears on, and Fen has been in and out of consciousness. Fen, what happens when you wake up, really, for the first time?
I feel like it's not like a sudden coming to clarity sort of thing. It's just like it's been fuzzy for a while, and it's like, oh, okay, we're here. We're actually here. And it's very like quiet in the room. You know, like maybe it's like when you're staying at a hotel and everybody's just like out at the same time, and you wake up from a nap and you're like, what happened? Where is everyone? But no, they don't really look around, but they just kind of like and just sort of grab part of their scarf, just like, why not happen again? Couldn't do shit. Friend still got hurt. And, well, at least it was me this time.
If Sierra is nearby, I think she'd kind of step forward.
That's a good question. So, Fen has been recuperating. Has Sierra mostly stayed in the cabin? I know I have the same question for Umiko.
Umiko never left. We sort of, her leg really hurts, and so does her shoulder. But she's sort of trying not to show that it is. She sort of propped herself up, probably leaning against Brun. And she's, like I said, she's a light sleeper, but she's probably watching Fen, just to see, watching them go in and out, out of concern. Not, she doesn't know any medicine at all, but she's watching.
Right. So Umiko would absolutely hear this conversation.
Sudden cat.
Yeah.
Jay, what would Sierra have stayed inside? Would Sierra have gone out to talk to people? Like, I think it depends on how she spent her day.
Right. I think right now, you know what? That's a good point. I don't think Sierra would probably be chilling inside right now. She'd probably be introducing herself and making her round. So,
right, telling everyone that she is the soul whisperer.
Exactly.
You must.
A lot of people in camp received that way better than Bastion did.
Yeah.
I think
She's really trying to impress everyone.
I think Umiko was sat there and just watching Fen say this. Is it, you are awake? Did I startle you?
A bit, yeah.
Sorry, I know I do that sometimes.
No, just I didn't expect anyone to be here.
I'm not going anywhere. I sort of looks down at her leg that's semi-propped up. I mean, I could try, but I'm pretty sure Skylar would say something about it. he okay?
I don't know how to answer that.
Well, you're here. You're alive. That's always good.
To start.
Do you hurt?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I think that's gonna be a thing for a while. I don't think I'm gonna be doing a whole lot of running in without thinking anymore.
That's okay. I pretty much did the same thing. Sometimes you have to act on spur of the moment. We would have all been dead otherwise.
I feel like you all kind of came in after me.
Yes. Would you have done the same for me?
Well, yeah.
Well, there you go then. Anyway, it's not the first time I've done something to my leg. When I was really tiny, he sort of gestures to Brun. It's like, sat on it.
Oh no.
It's fine. It heals. It's... You know.
Well, thank you. Anyway,
For what?
come back.
That's okay. Like I said, you would have done it for me. You did look like you were in a bit of a pickle. But I've never seen someone go up and just punch one of those things.
Looks like we got
That
a
takes a
Nerf
lot.
friend.
I mean, I had Brun, like I could run in and out, but you were just... No, you just went for it. That takes a lot. I couldn't do that.
A lot of what?
And just sort of gestures again, the same action you did. Hello, Raiders.
You're welcome, Raiders. Thank you for being here. Welcome to this emotional moment between two player characters.
And Umiko will probably sit there silent for a bit and slap her good leg for a bit and say, "You want to see my frog?"
You still have that?
Yeah, I wasn't going to leave him to get squished. Look, and she just starts dragging herself over to like she's leaving her leg, she's sort of half dragging, half and slumps down. See?
Oh, he's cute.
You can hold him if you like.
Okay.
And then she just sort of touches your hand and starts pooling water just for a second, so he's got something to sit in.
That's never gonna stop being crazy amazing to me.
I forget you can't do that. But I can't do what you did. I make water, that's about it.
I made myself into that. This kind of thing. It just comes to you.
Well, what's wrong if you make it or not? You do it, right?
Yeah. It's not a bad thing. Just...
It's what makes you you.
I guess.
I mean, I constantly look soggy. I didn't think anyone else did until, you know. Sierra can do some... You know, I still don't really understand what Sierra can do. I know I'm supposed to know, but I don't know. I really don't know.
She kind of expects us to know.
I know, I don't get
No
it.
idea who she is.
You don't either? It's not just me? Oh, that's a relief.
Jay's face.
That's a relief. And I know Steph does that thing where she can look at someone and see what's wrong with the inside and the out.
Yeah, that's
That's weird, right? I mean, I thought I was weird. It's a good kind of weird. It's weird. Do you not have someone else? Like the frog or like Brun? Travel completely on your own?
I never really left home much until now, and I don't know if there's a home left.
Why?
I mean, I didn't live in Melwary, but close enough.
You don't have a home to go back to?
I don't know if it's still there, Miko. After, we don't know what happened to the
No.
town after.
My brother made our house and it's pretty sturdy. And I mean, you can come stay there if you want. It's pretty boring. It's like 2 rooms, and there's this woman who lives down the road, and she's a real natterer. I mean, it smells of reindeer, which, I mean, you get used to it.
Yeah.
I've been on my own since I was 7, 6, I forget. So there's room, because it was built for 3.
I can't imagine not having anyone. I at least had my mom growing up, but
I have Brun.
he's
just-
dear.
Dag that's just lazing there.
He's real good, but that's dear.
Yes, but I had someone to talk to that way. Much more interesting than the lady. It's okay, you get used to it. Though I have to admit, I like talking more now. I didn't realize how much I'd stopped doing it.
Guess that happens when you're by yourself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I talk to the reindeer all the time. I know it makes me look like a bit of a weirdo, but...
They're still comforting.
Exactly.
They're not people, though.
No, but there are some people that I would definitely prefer the reindeer.
Sure. I know. I know the guy.
But, I mean, if you're right, maybe my little log cabin isn't there anymore.
I hope not. I mean, I hope it is what I mean. Still there.
But it could be still there. And if it's not, start again.
Just like that?
Well, it's not going to be easy, but I started again, not with the house. I had the house, but at 6 I had to learn how to do all the things. It felt like starting again. I could do it again if I did it when I was that young. And get some more reindeer. Or maybe I don't do reindeer. Maybe I could do something else. And she looks like she sort of drifts off into, oh my gosh, what else could I do? I could fish.
This made me stay away from the geese.
I hate geese. I didn't really have to deal with geese until yesterday, 2 days ago. I don't remember. I like
They'd
to
stop
find out.
in like my yard when they'd be migrating, and they wouldn't leave for weeks.
What did you do? I mean, my brother used to go out with a stick, but
I mean, Mom and I used to chase them around with whatever we had, but they don't care.
no, and they hiss, and I got bitten by one once, and it was really sore. And then
Just
Bruno
kind of
was
left them
back on it.
alone. I mean, we would go the way that we needed to go, keep them off the path, and then leave them alone the rest of the time till they left.
Well, one day I'm going to live in a place where there are no geese. At all. I mean, they're tasty, but I don't really fancy going up against one.
You know, ducks are smaller and nicer and actually taste better. Maybe go with those.
I could. There weren't that many ducks where I was. We literally either ate reindeer or you ate fish. There was the odd bird or goat or... But there's not much on a bird, and a goat is really tough. It's okay. You can have bad things happen, and then it makes whatever comes next better.
Guess so.
And she gives that really weird smile, like she's trying to make you smile, but she doesn't normally do it.
Well, if we get back and nothing's left, you want a hand rebuilding?
Yes, actually. We could live in the same place, and I really suck at building. Like, really bad. I mean, if it is still there, there's like a lean-to thing out back, which... Actually, no, we won't even look at that. I won't show you that. I should probably knock that down and start again. But I can make a good fence.
I believe that.
But I would like some help and... You know... Maybe some company that isn't a reindeer. I mean, Bryn, you're fantastic. Like, she sort of like reaches out to Bryn on the other side of the room. Like, you're great. I just, and maybe I'll make a pond. I think I'd like a pond. And sort of looks down at the frog in your hand. Like, maybe he could go in there. Or would that attract geese? Like, and she again starts her thought process all over again.
Well, kind of hand the frog back.
Thank you. In you go. And that pops him back in like the water skin.
It's just like, all right.
I can't leave him here. You saw what has happened.
Oh, I know.
A big mech bear thing goes after him. You get squished pretty quickly.
I feel like that's not what they typically go after, but
Never
you're
know.
right. No match.
True. I am hungry though. Are you hungry?
What time is it?
I'm so hungry.
Oh! This keeps on happening. Are you hungry too?
You look over to the third figure in the room who'd been kind of piled under blankets, and Mare looks to be awake.
And sort of, Emiko just like waves. Do we have any food tonight? And she sort of, again, just with her arm, starts dragging her leg. Winces a second because she remembers she's hurt her shoulder, but keeps on dragging herself back to her pack.
Where are we? What is... My stomach... Oh. Oh, that's why my stomach hurts. Okay. Well, still hungry.
And alive. She sort of like goes through the bag to
And
find.
alive. Fair point. Fair point. Yeah.
And just kind of leans back and it's just like,
You're alive too, and also look like you shouldn't be.
You could say that again.
You're alive too, and also look like you shouldn't be.
Thanks.
No problem. Do we have food? Is that a God, okay.
I
No,
could
I
find some, and she just starts dragging
No,
herself
no,
back.
yeah, you can't even walk. What happened when I was out? What?
Oh no, it's okay, because Brund can be my legs. And she's like, come on, up you get. Get up. As this thing just lays, get up. Like, it's just trying to get this stag to stand.
This might be a good time for Skylar to come back.
I think this is a hilarious
like-
time for Skylar to come back.
We throw
Like Mare is
something.
trying to stand up, Umiko is trying to get to the door. Finn is like,
Just the useless ones in the group.
I think Skylar. Oh, wait, I have to deal with the damn keys. I think Skylar.
Runs in, chased by geese.
The geese are here! Quick, go!
I think she spent the morning investigating camp, kind of maybe drawing in her journal, taking notes, taking everything in. And around lunchtime, she probably realizes that her patients probably haven't eaten and might actually be awake. And maybe, just maybe, she finds that scout that had all those geese that they brought back last time and brings in a roast goose for lunch to her patients in basically what has become the sick ward.
It's just like Umiko's nose just starts twitching. She's like, oh, what is that?
And Skylar walks in the door, laden down with geese.
Mare tries to like sit down and like obviously winces, but just like poses a bit, like, hey.
And Umiko's like, you're not fooling anyone.
Maybe I would have if you hadn't given me away.
I think she noticed. She notices small things.
Fine, whatever.
And Skylar's like, I was the one that stitched that giant hole in your side. I know exactly how you're doing.
Thank you, I owe you my life.
And Umiko's like,
And she's like, I was hoping you guys would be awake by now. I brought food.
oh, I am
And
so
she'll just
hungry.
start doling out. I don't know.
Like from her seated position, Umiko's like, gimme.
I don't know where Sierra is. I don't know where Sierra is at the moment. She was wandering around introducing herself to everyone who would give her 5 seconds. So, so if they look her general direction, she had to go talk about her, like,
But she might
Whatever
have
it
met
is.
a fan.
oh, I'm sure she'll meet one or make one or buy one. I don't know.
At that point, Sierra will waltz in and be like, oh, I'm starving.
Yes, yes. And she just sort of, again, Umiko with probably like a leg of duck or goose. She's like, not bad.
Hello, everyone.
Magda comes in not long after and it's just looks like she's been working on something. She's like a bit sweaty and has her hair pulled back and she's like, Mare, you're awake, and like runs over across the room pretty the second she gets in, and then she looks over, Fen, you're awake too.
Frank is I'm like, can I even move my arms right now? I'm not sure.
I think it probably hurts, so
Yeah. Like gets halfway and is like, all right.
Guys, it looks like I've become the storyteller.
You guys hear me?
It
Yeah.
does. Yes, welcome
Yeah.
back. I do actually need to take a quick break, but if y'all would like to continue, you're absolutely welcome to, and I will be back in just a second.
So where did you get this goose? Did you kill it yourself, or did you steal it?
I didn't do either of those
I'm
things.
just asking.
But they, don't you remember yesterday we came in and somebody was carrying all these geese? Anyway, yeah, no, they share and share alike, and I asked and they goosed me.
They goosed you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten a lot of rest, okay? I've been taking care of all of you crazies.
I'm not crazy. I mean, I lived on my own for a while and I talked to a lot of reindeer, but I'm not crazy.
We're just wacky.
No, I'm not that either.
Okay.
I think all of you ran into the middle of a big battle with a big mech and a crazy person on its back. I think you're all crazy.
Did you guys notice that part where I melted the bear's face off with my bare hands?
And I feel like Skylar has heard Sierra say that to like every
yeah.
person in camp. She's like,
Yeah.
yes, we heard about the face melting. You're very hot. You're also very physically attractive. We understand.
Yes, well,
Emma
I'm glad
goes
we're all on the same
backwards
page.
And forwards, backwards and forwards with this leg of like goose in her hand.
You know, Skylar, I was actually thinking, with all the fighting, my clothes have gotten awfully dirty. How about you and I go for a little bit of a shopping trip and find the tailor, and we can get a little bit of a makeover.
And I think Skylar would like look at Fen and Umiko and be like, is she serious?
I mean, I would invite them, of course, but they're injured, and I wouldn't want to have them walking around town.
What's wrong with what I'm wearing?
Oh no, well, everything.
I made this. Like, it like pulls at like these dungaree like overalls. What's wrong with them?
You know, that's a larger conversation that we can have when you're of a better state, but
You don't.
I
want
don't
me
know
to
if the
do
shock would be good for your
you.
system.
I mean, at this point, I'll go exploring this place with you just to get you away from my patients that you seem to be upset.
Oh, wait a second. Let's walk it back for just a minute. Your patient that I brought back from the dead.
And once again, Emiko sits back and enjoys.
Just like
Ben, did you know that I was the one that brought you back from the dead?
Yeah, and I would have been happier thanking you if you weren't flaunting it, but thanks.
I think you should go on a shopping trip.
I think retail therapy is exactly what we need right now.
And by the way, I did thank you. I said it was very cool, but let's be clear. Fen would have died of gangrene if I hadn't been around.
This is true.
Well, now we finally agree on something. Thank you for, saving Fen's life. It was convenient to have you around. It made a lot less work for me to do it.
Yes, and thank you for bringing Fen back to a waking state and not getting gangrene. Shall we shop?
I don't know where you're expecting to shop, but I mean, I'll go look around and see what they've got. It doesn't really seem like a,
Well, if they have
there's
a tailor,
no marketplace.
all we need is a tailor.
I mean, I think you're gonna be lucky if you can find someone with more of a needle and thread than I got in my kit, but okay.
I mean, I'd also like to chat with you one-on-one, so girl to girl.
Oh boy. And I think she would almost look at Umiko and Fen save me.
Umiko's got the frog back out again and just.
It's just
In Sierra's mind,
I'm not part of this. I'm not here.
Yeah, Umiko and
change
Fen are
it.
not even in the room, to Sierra. She's
Fen feigns to fall back asleep. I know exactly what you're doing. I can tell that you're still breathing heavy. Okay, we can talk. I think I have a few questions to ask you anyway.
perfect. Shall we? And I gesture towards the exit, allowing you to go before me.
As the two
Thank you, Your Majesty.
yeah, exit on that note. Mare, who has been making confused faces to Magda, who's been whispering under her breath back at him, just says, "Yeah, so I missed a lot."
Mm-hmm.
Where does Sierra take Skylar?
So while Sierra was making her rounds, did she happen to meet a tailor at some point, or someone that makes the clothes for the people of the village?
Yeah, okay, so you didn't actually. It is an encampment more than a village. However, you did meet someone who seemed responsible for sorting the clothes that were found in the city on scouting trips.
So that is the person that I will take Skylar to. And what is this person's name?
This person's name is Helena.
Helena.
Mm-hmm.
Helena, meet Skylar. Skylar, meet Helena.
Oh, hello.
I have brought my friend here today. Our clothes have gotten a little tattered in last night's battle. I was just wondering if you could help us find something a little cleaner, a little bit more put together.
Oh yes, absolutely. And she starts kind of she has actually several piles here of clothes. She just, I was getting things ready for the nomads. They're coming through a little bit later this week, and I know that they'll likely bring some things to trade. And we've found quite a few things on our trips to the ruins lately. Let's see. And she kind of takes in what the two of you are already wearing. Can you describe what that is for everyone?
So for Sierra, it's the same blue. It's the same blue robe. It's like a light blue robe, and it's like a very thin chiffon-y material, and it has gold details and kind of gemstones embedded into the fabrics, but now it's kind of dirty and torn. So that's Sierra.
What about Skylar?
And Skylar's wearing kind of brown. And she's got brown soft canvas pants with lots of pockets, some of which look like they're hand added. Tramp. rest of the toys today.
Of course.
And just lots of pockets. She's got kind of a belt with more pouches on it. She has her like leather messenger bag we've seen a lot. And then she's wearing kind of layers on top, probably like just kind of brown cotton, maybe a brown cotton sweater, and something like a leather vest. But very much utilitarian, keeping warm, light layers, lots of storage on her person.
I think that Helena pulls out, first off, it is a beautiful, light, sequined dress. It has kind of neckline that is just very sheer fabric that comes down, is like hooked behind and comes down off to the sides, and then has like a very flowing bottom to it. And the dress itself is, fairly fitted with this sheer layer over it, and it falls about to mid-thigh, and then it has like a belt, an empire belt of just jewels, like shining gems. She says, I just shined these earlier. And the sheer fabric falls over the top of the dress and in kind of a capelet behind as well. It's not quite as elegant as what you have on, and its style is a bit antique, but it might suit you for a bit.
I think it would do just fine. Do you have anything for my friend Skylar?
Yes, and she pulls out it's like a khaki cargo jacket.
Oh, no.
No, this is what she's like. What
I
she's.
can always use more pockets.
I just thought pockets were kind of a thing. No.
They're useful. Oh goodness, this is gonna be one of those things, isn't it? Oh.
Okay. And she kind of shifts through things again, and she pulls out it's like a blouse and a blazer. And she holds them up kind of as a pair and tucks the blouse underneath the blazer so that you can kind of like see what it would look like on, right? And she said, with a new pair of pants, of course, to kind of go with it. And I know that, I know that the blazer doesn't have as many pockets, but really, I think it would look stunning on you, this jacket.
I think it looks lovely. What do you think, Skylar?
I mean, I don't know if I've ever had anything quite like that before. I mean, I've been wearing this for a really long time. It's not the weirdest thing that's happened today.
Thank you so much to Tweeter of Vecna for donating a signature move for the frog. We will figure out how to do that. I may need to draw some cards.
That's wild. That's very exciting.
The frog has to be Brooks.
But yes, no, at least try out the blazer, and if you don't like it, then we can always swap it out, of course.
Yeah. I mean, okay. And she'll kind of take her messenger bag off, and she thinks about handing it to Sierra, and then she just puts it on the ground by her feet, and then puts on the blazer. Maybe takes off her vest. She's like, maybe I mean, look, it's comfortable. It's warm. It's another layer, which is always good in the woods.
You look stunning. And Sierra will also put on her new sequin dress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, do you have a mirror?
No. Sorry, I don't own a proper store, just kind of a trading post type thing.
It's quaint.
It looks nice, if that helps.
Well, thank you. It's much appreciated. Now, given the fact that we just saved your village from an evil rampaging robot, I think it's only fair if we were, as a gift, as a thank you gift.
This is going to be a Brooks challenge. This is going to be a Brooks challenge of 2. So your dice pool is 3 plus 1 because this is your
area, my
your
domain.
suit. Mhm.
Yeah, my suit. Also, I have a talent. Adventure interlude. Everyone wants something, and you can make. Everyone wants something, and you can make a trade. You excel at making deals. So would that count as an extra dice?
Yes, I think that would count here.
Cool. And yeah, I think that's about it. But I am going to roll for that. So there we go. What number is Brooks?
Brooks is 2s.
Okay, so I'm going to use my re-roll.
Okay, go for it.
So is the re-roll for the whole
It's
pool?
for the whole set, yes.
Okay.
Looking for 2s or 6s. Okay.
There we
yeah,
go.
that'll do it.
Cool.
That is way better. And so, as you have this conversation, she is just nodding. She says, "You are so right, and we are so grateful you were here. Who knows what could have happened if you hadn't been? In fact," and she kind of looks around and she pulls out this really long, like, rope style belt. And she, like, kind of like looks at you for permission and reaches around and just starts like wrapping this belt around, and it's long. I mean, this is like a 10-foot long rope belt trinket type thing. And she wraps it around and just like cinches it and kind of clasps it at the front, and it just hangs over this dress. It's nice. It is a rope style belt, but it is like not utility rope. It's pretty. It's woven.
This is lovely. Thank you so much. You've been so accommodating.
Of course, I hope that you all enjoy your stay here. I know that the circumstances that brought you here were just so unbelievable, really. But we're glad you're here, and if there's anything I can do, I'm happy to do it.
Oh, you're darling. Thank you so much. Skylar, maybe we should get out of here and chat a little.
Yeah, maybe. No, I can't believe you did that. These people don't have that much.
Listen, Skylar, we've earned it. We've worked hard for this. We saved all of them from those robots last night.
Hey!
Oh,
You look towards the voice to see Jaden, the kid that you pulled out of the way of the machine yesterday.
People just keep appearing out of thin air around here.
Oh, hi, Jaden.
Hey, they didn't let me go on the scouting trip today. Something about like trauma and going through something difficult or whatever. But so I was here and I was bored and I made you this. And he pulls out, it's like a little wooden carving. It's not like the best in the world, but like it's a little hollow piece of wood, and inside is a little string with a little wooden star dangling from it that you can see through like a little window in the wood. See, I wanted to thank you for, saving me last night and stuff, because that was pretty cool, and it was pretty cool of you to do, and I probably could have been crushed, if you hadn't been there and jumped in and done that thing. So I know it's not as pretty as you, but I thought that I thought you'd like it.
Thank you so much, Jaden. That is so thoughtful. I really appreciate it so much. And I take the object, and I kind of like hold, like behind my back, I kind of like hold it to give it to Skylar, like take it, like get it out of my hand kind of thing. Like, I don't want this.
And for anyone that would be watching, you would see like Skylar was annoyed, and then Jaden appeared, and she remembered that Sierra did save Jaden, and she's like, oh, I guess she's not that bad. And then she sees Sierra holding this thing, and she's like, no, I take it all back. She is that bad. and Skylar grabs it really quickly and puts it in one of her many storage options.
At that point, Sarah will like crouch down to like get on eye level with Jaden. And Jaden, it's probably for the best that you didn't go on that scouting mission. That creature that arrived here last night was incredibly dangerous and could have done major harm to you. I suggest that you stay home with your family if you have one. And if not, then you should go back to the cottage in which I'm staying with my party. It's not safe for you to be out and about right now.
Well, I guess, but then it's not safe for anybody, and I feel like I'm not doing my part, Like, I go out on these scouting trips all the time, and he kind of like shuffles his foot a little bit on the ground and just... I don't know. It's a little boring. You have something that you do, and you want to do it, and you want to do a good job at it, and then all of a sudden you can't do it anymore, and you don't... I don't want to say useless, but I want to say useless. Feel a little useless. So that's why I carved it for you, is because I didn't want to feel useless, and I'm not like the best in the world, but like it's something I could do.
You're certainly not useless. You're just a child that can't do anything. That's not your fault. I mean,
And Skylar would step in, and she'd just be like, Jaden, you've got all sorts of use here, right? Like, you can go, you can help me with my herbs, you can bring tea to so many of these other people that are hurting, and your smile, it lights up the room, and people like being around you. I like being around you. Sierra kind of likes being around you as much as she likes being around anybody but herself. I mean...
Everything she said.
I mean, you bring joy, and people, when bad things happen, like yesterday, people need joy and comfort, and you can do that here. So maybe you're not fulfilling your big dreams. You'll get there one day, but today you have this amazing purpose.
To go be around people?
To help people out, to lift people's spirits, to do the little things that they don't feel up to doing today by themselves. Like grab some firewood, bring some tea, share some snacks. Everybody loves snacks. You can be the snack delivery guy.
You don't think I'd annoy people?
I think if you're being helpful anyone that's annoyed with you, well, that's a them problem. That's not a you problem.
Okay, I'm gonna go find some snacks.
Oh, before you leave,
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
as you go around and you help everyone, you let them know that it was Sierra and Skylar. Sierra that saved this village from annihilation last night. And I'm gonna boop him on the nose. Just like a little boop.
Yeah, I think everyone knows that. And then he runs off.
Well, I think that went swimmingly.
Yeah, I mean, really rallied there at the end.
People have always told me I have a knack with children.
Oh, really? I would love to meet these people that tell you that.
Well then.
So, you wanted to talk to me about something?
I did. So, and I'm gonna kind of try to take Skylar like off to the side, like maybe like next to a building, not where there's a ton of people around. So, Skylar, I can feel the dynamo growing within me. As you saw last night, I was able to revive Fen from the dead. That is not something I have done before. But I knew that I could. And earlier in the day, I had a vision. I knew what was about to happen. It was an unprovoked vision. I didn't touch anyone. I just saw. And then it came true when the bear attacked the village. You seem to know. I don't like talking about this, but in my line of work, I'm more known for the way I present my knowledge and my skills than my skills themselves. You clearly are well versed with Dynama. I saw you yesterday using the ropes made of air and doing all kinds of crazy tricks that I've never seen before. Maybe you know more about the workings of Dynama than I do. And I just was wondering if you had any answers.
I mean, I've traveled a lot, partially while we're, sharing less than flattering truths. Some of the reason I travel is not just to help people, but to find people to learn from about the Dynama. I had a teacher once who helped me learn. They helped me tap into it and understand it. But it's hard to explain. It's very personal. It's how you see it and how you understand it that decides. Sorry, I'm very distracted by chat at the moment. It's how you understand it and how you make sense of it that helps you figure out how to use it. So okay, for example, I have training in the healing arts. And so to me, I use Dynama in this very surgical way, right? I use it to understand things and tear things apart. Because that's how my brain works. So that's how my brain interacts with it. But God knows I have no idea how your brain works. So, it's hard for me to tell you how you interact with it. It sounds to me like to you it tells stories. And so I think maybe focusing on the stories it tells helps. I also meditate a lot, and kind of mess with it, right? Like, you just have to keep playing around and figure out how to see it and how to hold on to it. I don't know if I'm making any sense. There's a reason that somebody else taught me and not me teaching other people.
No, I appreciate it. I've been doing this on my own with the help of my valet, but he doesn't know much of Dynama, and everything I know, it's just from living. And
how about we make a trade or a deal?
I love deals.
How about I help you train in the Dynama, and you let me study you, and you are honest with me about what you're seeing while we're doing it?
I would love that. That sounds like a wonderful trade. With that said, I think right now we have been presented with a grand opportunity. A number of us that have only met yesterday have skills that use the Dynama.
Yeah, I mean, that water thing has to be Dynama related, right?
That has to be. It must be. And Fen is an incredibly skilled fighter.
Yeah,
Together.
I want to get a look at that arm.
Oh yeah, no, very mysterious, very curious. But I think that together we can influence the world around us. Clearly, things are changing. I'm not used to working with others, but this opportunity would be too good to pass up. I think we should stick together.
I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that we were the ones that went through that portal and that it showed up for us. So,
I don't know if I believe in fate, but
you see the future. How do you not believe in fate? Sorry, I digress. Continue.
fuck. Caught me red-handed. No. I don't know if I believe in a god. I don't know if I believe in a god, but I do believe that I, and potentially we, have the potential to go down in history. We can be remembered as being larger than the buildings and the ruins that surround us. But in order to make that happen, we'll need each other.
And in order to reach your goal of being remembered, I think we need there to be people alive to remember us. And so I think that decay business is something we need to handle. I have no interest in having my memory live forever. I don't have a lot of people that I care to remember me. But there's a lot of people that I think could use our help. And maybe by helping them, we'll get remembered that way. You get to go down in history, and we get to, casually save the world.
Skylar, I want to understand you better, and you're the only one left in our group that I haven't connected with yet.
You mean that the touchy thing? The
Yes,
you get to see whatever you feel like seeing thing. I don't know how I feel about that.
Skylar, it's what I've done hundreds of people, Skylar. This is what I do. It's how I earn my living, and I don't appreciate you shaming something that is such a core part of who I am.
Yes, but you're getting to see personal core parts of who I am.
And sometimes I've found that sometimes when people allow me to see those parts of them, I can offer them perspective that they may not have otherwise had. Usually that perspective motivates them, betters their life. It's how I've made my name, Skylar.
You can... Okay. But be aware that I'm doing this because I don't think you're going to give me perspective, but maybe it'll give you some.
We'll see. And
I think that's okay. So yeah, this is very good. So the way we've done this, Kelly, if you would like to pick a moment from Skylar's past, a snapshot, an image, something, to share with Sierra in this moment, something significant. It doesn't have to be like the most significant moment or anything, like it just has to be a snapshot from a moment that was important in Skylar's lifetime.
There's so many good ones to choose from.
I know there are. And it doesn't have to be, like a huge story giveaway either, because
okay, so I think I can't get out of the voice. So I think what Sierra sees is two people screaming at each other. And one of them is Skylar, and the other person is taller, but looks a lot like Skylar. It's another young woman. They seem around the same age, but probably not exactly the same age, and they're arguing. And you just hear Skylar yelling like, "How can you be with that pig? He just watched. He just sat there, and his family did nothing. They did nothing while they died." And you see this other figure saying, It was his family that did that, not him. You can't be mad at everyone. Skylar's just going, yeah, well, watch me. And the room. And going back home and packing her bags and leaving town.
Sierra, suffice to say, that's the most you've seen from someone you've touched in a very long time.
Hmm. Do you have regrets? Do you live with regret right now?
No. I don't know. Regrets are for people who want to go backwards. Everything I've done is about going forward.
Don't let anyone hold you back. Keep moving forward. I think we're much more alike than either of us may realize. I know I've said that before, but it just keeps coming to mind. I think we have a lot in common.
I definitely think we both have like a lot of feelings.
That's for sure.
Well, okay. Well, I'm sufficiently uncomfortable, and we just made grand plans to, save the world and be heroic and, die in the annals of history with two people that aren't even here right now.
Yes, exactly. I think you need to share with all of us. We like to hear more about this I'm not sure what you referred to it as, a plague or a disease.
I don't know, infection maybe?
Or an infection, I don't know, but you can tell all of us about it once we return. Shall we?
Yeah, and this whole blazer thing was maybe not the worst idea.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. I think you look really good in that blazer, if I'm being honest.
Thank you. Okay, well, let's go back to the cabin. Let's check on everybody. Let's make sure,
Let's.
we can show them our new duds.
When we get there, I'm gonna swing the door open, like, we have arrived. And
Oh boy, what did I get myself into?
and like the backlight from outside is like reflecting off of like the sequins, and like you see like the silhouetted image. I'm like
having a very quiet talk, and we're both just like, oh,
Just like, oh, God.
Like, and then you just see like Skylar behind her, like, oh my god. But in a new blazer.
Oh yeah, no, she's looking fast in that blazer. Like.
So guys,
What are you wearing?
Would you like to tell them, Skylar?
I mean, so Sierra she's pretty good at, finding people to do things. Getting them, it's really kind of unnerving. But anyway, so we went to, we found a lady who had clothes, and we got new clothes. But then we also got to talking, and we may. She looks at Sierra, who's, I'm guessing, much taller than Skylar.
Sierra's like, almost 6 foot. She's very
Yeah,
tall.
Skylar's like barely 5 feet tall. And she's like, we might actually agree on something.
That we do.
So, well, do you want to tell them what? Maybe you shouldn't. Anyway, so it seems to us that we have a collection here of some pretty unique people. And this collection may be providing a key opportunity to help people. That decay. I have a really good feeling that this decay thing and the machine thing and the RRR thing really is not good, right? And somebody should do something about it. And it just so happens that we've got 4 people, or 6 people really, in this room that seem to be capable of doing things about other things, and maybe we should do something about it. You know, and save the world or save the day, or just stop the end of time. And maybe Sierra pointed out a good point. Like, so we could end up famous or something. But that's not the point.
I don't want.
Can't
to
you
be
see our name in
famous.
night?
What was that, Umako?
I don't want to be famous.
I mean, neither do I. But I also don't want to be dead.
So if I don't die, I'm famous.
I'm not saying that those are the only 2 options, but I have a feeling that those are the 2 primary options.
You'd be famous for saving the world from evil robots.
How would I save the world?
Well, that's where all of us come into play.
All I do is make water that doesn't fight mechs.
I mean, you fought that one mech with the water. You just.
And Umako looks down at her leg and over her shoulder. I didn't, though.
You have a gift. Not many people are granted gifts by the Dynama. If you let it go to waste, people would die to be in the position that you're in, to have the abilities that you have, as much as you may see them as inconsequential. I think it is your responsibility to live up to the abilities that you've been granted.
My responsibility is to my reindeer. I haven't fed them now for 2 days. I'm really hoping my neighbor has. I mean, sure, I'll help, but I don't know what good it'll do. I'm going to make just people a little damp.
So Skylar has an unlocked special ability, I believe, and she thinks
Yes.
it's very.
Big thanks to Twitter of Vecna for making that
Yes.
a possibility.
Thank you there. And she thinks this is really, really important that this group of people do this together. Like, she just believes that. And so she wants to try and convince them. And I would like to use her special ability to show them, basically to make little windows and help them see what's going on at home. Because Skylar's special ability is to do something major with the Dynama. And that's as specific as it gets.
Yeah.
My reindeer are dead. Umiko said.
Oh, you have no more responsibility. You're free to help save the world.
Dude, that's like the coolest.
Like, there's not a whole lot of specifics about Skylar's major powers, so can I use it in this way?
Yes, I think that is a very interesting and creative way to use your signature move. So, yes, can you go ahead and read the text on your signature move for us so that we know what it is, and then we'll make it happen.
Okay, so my signature move is Clear Power. By drawing energy from the world around you, you can manipulate Dynama into a powerful magical effect. The magic is draining and fickle. You can't control it for long, but one moment should be enough.
You open up these windows. Now, if you're not the only ones still in the room, do you open up 4?
I think she would open up.
Could the siblings share?
Yeah, maybe the siblings would maybe get an image of home, as would Fen and as would Umiko.
Okay.
She knows Sierra's already on board.
Sierra's good. Cool. So 3 windows then. This is fascinating. Can you describe how this looks to me as you look through the Dynama to other places in the world?
So I think as Jeez, boots. Yeah, so I think as Umiko is talking, you see Skylar kind of settle into herself, and she sits kind of in the middle of the room, and it's odd. It's odd behavior. She's not usually this not twitchy. And in front of each of them, so in front of Fen, in front of Umiko, and in front of the siblings, you see light start to flicker, and for a moment you can see that haze again, that oily haze in the air, like there's too much heat, and then it starts to pull apart, and it almost looks like there's like a spot in front of you that's ripping open slowly, and this haze surrounds it, and in the hole that's made is an image, probably just enough, with it being 3 of them, it's right in front of you, and there's an image of just a few moments of what is going on at home for each of you. And then as the image unfolds, it only lasts, like I said, a few moments, and then it snaps shut, and Skylar collapses.
Okay. So we'll start with Umiko. You see seconds, a few seconds of an image from home. What do you see?
Is the home still intact?
Seems to be. I think y'all have a lot of flexibility in what you envision happening in your homes these past few days. And
Skylar would be trying to Skylar would be trying to show you an image that might help convince you.
Reassuring.
Reassuring or upsetting, maybe. You could go either direction, right?
Oh, yeah.
but she doesn't necessarily know what that looks like, so she might not hit it, right? She might not get lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the only thing that's going to convince Emiko is upsetting. Because otherwise she's
Okay.
going to go back and feed her reindeer. Emiko probably sees the fences that she has built knocked down.
Hmm.
And there are no reindeer left in the paddock. They've run. And that's probably because her home has been either set on fire or something. There's like a couple of the smaller mechs that she saw on the road that she hid from on the way in, crawling in and out of the house through the windows and tearing bits off of it. And probably simple little things like her enamel sort of iron kettle she can hear things being knocked over and flames coming from just parts of the house, because it is a wooden log like hut. And she'll just stay sitting down. And she has a hood which she just pulls up and pulls over her head so she doesn't have to look at it anymore.
It lasts only a few seconds, and then it disappears from before your eyes. Fen, what do you see?
I think it's not necessarily Fen's like worst fears, but like the home, like the kind of sort of like small hunting lodge type deal that they live in with their mom is like not fallen apart. There is some significant damage, but it looks like mostly on the way sort of deal. Like some like a stick pig just ran by and knocked down like a bunch of non-major support kind of things. Like things are kind of leaning and a little like but it's not destroyed. There's a lot of like churned up earth and there are no fences left and it's just like ratty. But like little pieces like decorations and things that were hanging from the eaves or on the door have like fallen off and are just like scattered around. But as they're watching, their mom does walk out from kind of around a corner and just kind of like with her hands on her hips, and it's just like okay, and starts picking things up. And at that, Fen just kind of is like, takes a breath, like hopeful for possibly the first time in a few hours, day, actually genuinely settled by that.
The third window opens up in front of the twins, who have been silent, listening, but not so much contributing. Through the window, they see their Za. Skylar met briefly in the marketplace, and they are holding flowers and standing over a gravestone marked with their dad's name. And their breath catches. There are flashes of mellow-airy, just rubble, destroyed. The machines left it a pile of smoke and rubble, and the few people who made it out, including their Za, have made up a small camp of tents and flames, and they keep watch every night to try and keep the mechs away. But somehow they've made this little grave site. The stones are different, and there are a lot of them. They're flat, they're round, and the names are carved into them. And they're all set on the ground, just way too many of these stones. And Za and several of the others are standing there, tears in their eyes, at some sort of service for the fallen of Mellowary. And Magda has tears in her eyes too. She blinks and looks away. Mare just looks stunned. And then all of the windows close. All of the snapshots of your lives disappear. And Skylar collapses.
I think
Oh no.
Drew looks to Brun and sort of just gives a low whistle, and will use him to get to her feet. So, I'm just going to get some fresh air, and will probably hobble out, or sort of drag with her bad leg out of the hut.
I'm gonna rush over to Skylar and make sure that she's okay. Is she conscious?
She's breathing. I think after a moment or two, she kind of comes around, but it's clear that she's exhausted herself.
You're very powerful.
Only sometimes.
Looks like whatever the others saw, it's shaken them up.
I don't want them to see bad things, but I wanted them to remember what they're gonna be fighting for.
I'm gonna look over to Fen. Fen, are you okay? Are you ready to fight for your home?
I was muted, but I said better, I think.
Oh, okay.
Like this?
Well, of course. You'd have to heal first. One step at a time.
I'm not sure if what I got is enough. I used to think I did.
What were you fighting for before this happened?
I didn't wanna. I didn't want to feel powerless anymore. I couldn't stand just standing by. I lost someone before. I didn't. When this happened, just gesturing to their arm, I wasn't alone in there. And she got me out of the way, but when some machines came looking,
Good. Here's your lesson
they
plan.
still found her. I couldn't do anything then.
Sierra will go in to give Fen a hug if that's okay.
It probably still hurts, but they're like painful.
Yeah, be very careful with the burns.
Very careful hug. And it will be a warm one too. She'll definitely
Aw.
heat up a little bit from this
Oh
one.
boy.
I'm sorry you had to go through that, Fen.
It's been a while. I'm sorry. I just didn't want that to happen again, and I'm grateful that what I did have left is still standing.
Thank you. We are Nerdsmith for the sub.
Grateful for the sub.
That too.
We are still, well, you're not quite standing, but you're standing adjacent. You're sitting, but
I'll
you
get
would
back
be
up.
standing if you could.
I'll get back up.
You'll get back up.
I always do.
You have a fighting spirit, Fen.
Thank you for real.
We should make sure Umiko's okay.
Mare just snorts and says, you're real good at these rallying cries, Sierra.
You
No,
need to cut the bullshit with her. She
It's-
deserves something real, though.
Yeah, no, Umiko needs. I don't know if I'm the one that should talk to Umiko. She doesn't deserve one of my little blabs.
Harsh reality checks.
Yeah. I think someone with a softer touch, maybe.
And I think Skylar stumbles up to her feet almost. She's like, yeah. I should probably go pet the reindeer anyway. I'll go check on her. And she very slowly, like she's sore all over, like somebody with the flu, right? That like, walks out the door and looks around for Umiko.
Magda
Looks like we
pulls
got a
her
friend.
legs up to her chest, and Mare leans over and starts to talk to her as you leave. Once you get outside, where is Umiko?
Is there anywhere that is like a water source, like a river or a... I mean, if there's not geese there, she'll go back to one of the lakes, but...
Hey, welcome Raiders! Thank you, Nerdsmith. We're sending them over. Hi, everyone. We're having character moments. Yeah, I think that there's when you came in through the forest, through this town, you not town, encampment, you see you saw like a brook of some sort. It's not really like a big water source, but it's something.
Yeah, if that's there, she's not by it. She sat in it. She is fully sat in it, and she's got like a hand out the side, and she's just like running her hand along the top of the water's surface.
And I don't know if Skylar would be able to see her, but it's kind of hard to miss a stag.
He'd be sort of sat on the side.
And she would walk over and just kind of like sit down next to her quietly. Hi.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
And she, at that point, she turns and looks at Skylar. I'm fine. And then we'll look away again.
Are you sure you're fine?
Are you?
Oh, I'm not fine. I never said I was fine.
Then
I'm scared. I know I'm feeling scared. Everything that we've seen the past couple of days is scary and hard, and
I'm not scared.
Wow. All this gold.
okay, what are you feeling?
Thank you, guys.
I don't know. I haven't felt this in a while.
Are you sad? Or angry?
Maybe.
I'm angry a lot.
I know.
Yeah, most people notice.
My reindeer are gone.
Oh, that sounds sad to me.
My fence is broken.
Well, fences can be fixed. And new reindeer can be found.
My house is gone.
And new houses can be built. You've got a lot of friends here now that want to help you.
My brother built that house. And my mom bought me the tiara.
That sounds like the source of a lot of feelings.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't get it.
You don't get your feelings? Or what happened?
I just want my house.
Well, that's normal. I can understand that.
I've never lived anywhere else. I've not known any other walls. It's strange to think that I'm not going back. That was the last thing I had of my brothers. So, I don't know.
Well, it's not the last thing you have. You have all of your memories and all of the love between the two of you. Those are much more powerful than wood and bricks and objects. those are never going to go away. I know what it's like to leave home. I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to mine either.
What if I forget him though?
Oh, bonds like that, you don't forget those things. They stay with you.
I was 6 years old. I don't remember a lot.
And I think Skylar goes into her bag and she pulls out a journal that she carries with her that you've probably seen her write in, and she goes, you know, sometimes I have trouble remembering things too, and that's why I write them all down. So that not just, I know it's scary to write everything down because you might lose the journal, but writing it down helps you solidify them in your mind. It makes them harder to forget, makes them stick with you. And if you were 6, you probably, and you still remember now, you'll remember tomorrow.
Skylar, and she dips her head for a second. I can't write.
Well, I could write them down if you trust me. Or you could draw them.
Maybe one day. I never learned to write. Reindeers don't need to read.
But either way, if you remember him from when you were 6, you'll remember him tomorrow. Because those feelings don't just disappear.
Maybe not. I want to go back now.
Back to the cabin with the group?
Yeah.
Okay, we can go back. If that's what you want to do.
I do. And she looks like she's about to try lift herself with her leg. And then remembering it hurts, she just puts her hands either side, and it's like her hands push against the water but don't go beneath the water. And she uses it as she pushes it back, almost like to lift her upright. Do you want to ride Brun back?
Sure.
Brun, and she sort of clicks at him, and he kneels down, his front 2 legs kneel down. Don't hold his neck.
Oh, okay. I'll just sit here.
Because he will bite you if you hold his neck.
I've noticed he's a bit bitey and pokey.
He's not so bad. And she sort of stands and gives him a little bit of a scratch behind the ear. And then if you get on, he'll stand. I'll see you back there. And she slaps Brun.
Wait a second!
And starts to hobble back to the camp on her own.
This is not what I was anticipating! Brun, you have to, she needs some...
Hey, Kelly, can I get you to roll me just a dexterity check to see how you do?
Oh, no.
Just
So
3 dice. Yeah, we're just looking for, those 3s or 6s for the gales. Yeah. Okay, this doesn't go so well.
I just injured the healer.
Okay, she doesn't fall off because she has some guidance, but she almost does, to where she is barely hanging on. I mean, it just gets, yeah.
I imagine that she goes to like hold his neck and then realizes she can't, and she just ends up laying like flat on her stomach on the back, and just laying here like.
Yep. And you ride like that back to the cabin, and it's not the most fun or elegant or graceful ride, but it gets you there.
Umuko will probably arrive a little bit later. Sort of that hobble in, like she's walking a little bit straighter, and she'll look at everyone in the room, and she sort of, and she walks over to Fen, and if Fen is still like laying down, we'll sort of crouch down. Could you help me build a house, please, when we're done?
Of course.
Thank you. And she'll walk back out again and find room and see if Skylar's still in one piece.
And I think she exits to watching Skylar fall off the roof.
And that is where we close Dynama for today. Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you all for playing today. I had so much fun wrapping some character things, getting into some things. Didn't even draw cards this time. We did a couple of rolls, but there wasn't a lot that needed to be drawn from the deck. It just all kind of happened. So thank you all for bringing some interesting role-playing moments to today's session. And of course, we saw another signature move. We've seen 2 now, and I'm excited to see the others, as well as the ways that these could also be used. I think there's a lot of flexibility narratively to them, and I'd love to see them again. So also thank you to We Are Nerdsmith for that 15-pound donation there at the end. And wow, great game, y'all. Let's go around and just say who you are, where we can find you on the internet, any other projects you have, and what your favorite moment from today's session was. Alice, we're going to end with you. So we're going to skip down to, oh gosh, who's next? I always do this. Julie.
Okay. Hi, I'm Julie. I go by Jgrave Art just about everywhere. I mostly do art and yell about D&D and other RPGs. And oh gosh, today was so full of good moments. I loved just getting to RP, just like not have to worry about like stuff happening, but just like have this downtime that we sorely needed after a whirlwind like single day. But yeah, just like getting to learn more about us. There's not, I mean, that last bit of just this wild ride was a gem. That is my absolute star of the session. But yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much. I love Fen and hearing more about their backstory. So let's go around to Kelly. Tell us a little bit about you and where we can find you on the internet.
Hi, I'm Kelly at @KellyLane on Twitter. You can find my full TTRPG streaming schedule there. Highlights are that I am on this channel again Tuesday nights for Curse of Strahd at 10 p.m. EST, which, goodness gracious, this week in these games that I'm playing in, just keeps going, man. And then Saturdays, I'm usually on Wandering DM playing Go West, which is a Pulp Cthulhu game set in the New Mexico territory in the late 1800s. However, this Saturday, that will actually be a charity game. They're raising money for charity, so I highly recommend checking it out, even though I won't be there. Other than that, I'm in one-shots all over the place, especially this month for some reason. So check out my pinned tweet for that. Oh boy. My favorite thing. Oh God. So I appreciated didn't. So Jay said before stream that she had an idea of what she was going to get Skylar to do with Sierra today. I would never have expected retail therapy to be what, like, I would not, that is just, I wouldn't have guessed it. I wouldn't, there's no universe in which I guessed retail therapy was what we were going to do today. And I enjoyed it, and Skylar maybe did. She's not sure. But that
Retail
was
therapy in a camp a few miles from the decay and ancient world ruins, but away from most civilization. No worries.
And you basically got a glitter ball dress. I want to know where they got that from. In this place.
One of the dilapidated buildings, perhaps.
A dusty closet.
Yeah.
And I will say 100% when I decided to do that portal thing, I thought Fen was gonna go with the ultimate depressing and Umaka, like that y'all flipped that on like up backwards and upside down in 6 ways from Sunday from what I was expecting that to turn out to be. And
In the best way.
Awesome.
But speaking of that awesome retail therapy, Jay, can you tell us about you and what you liked about today?
Hi, I'm Jay, Jay Guns Gold on the internet, and I mean, like, I just want to say, like, all of you guys are so talented and, like, just amazing role players. So, like, it's so hard to choose a favorite moment. I mean, those emotional scenes at the end were just, like, awesome. I mean, because I was feeling the feels. I was eating my kettle corn as, like, a coping mechanism to, like, that's how I process, you know? Yeah, those were great. But I also did really enjoy, like, whipping Bastion in the face in the beginning. So that was fun too. But yeah, no, definitely those emotional moments at the end were super fun. I mean, fun in, like, the sad way, but it's still fun. So, yeah.
I think it was fun. I think that's the right word because it's beautiful and it was epic and wonderful and yeah, sad, but in a fun way. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I am Renee Rhodes. I have been your storyteller with the game of Weave today. This is a game by Monocle Society that I played at PAX Unplugged and really loved. It's been a lot of fun so far because it's so much about narrative development, and we saw a lot of that with each of the characters today, and just as they role play and build the story. And I think I know that this was like a moment, but I think the best thing about it was like being able to say, okay, I'm not going to tell you what about your lives you see in these little snapshots of home, and then y'all being able to just like weave some epic tales for us about like it, you know, give us some feels, give us some emotions. It was great. So yeah, no, yes, I am a lot of places. I'm actually going to be back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time playing some good old D&D, and I'm very excited about that. But I'm also a number of other places. I do freelance writing and social media work, and so you can find me writing articles for Scrat's Patreon. If you want to check those out, they are free, and you can visit the Patreon to read more about them. I also am the DM for a family-friendly D&D actual play podcast called Fate and the Fable Maidens, which you can find at Fate FM Cast across social media or at fatefmcast.com. I'm on Nerd Immersion, alternating Mondays playing D&D, on Encounter Roleplay playing Call of Cthulhu on Tuesdays, and then here on Wednesdays playing Dynama. And I really love this game, I really love this cast, and I love the story that we are getting to tell. So thank you for being here, and we'll close out with Headmistress Alice over here.
Hello. Okay. So this was an awesome session. I really liked the heavy roleplay and learning just a little bit more about everyone's backstories, which has made me now want to know even more. I love that geese is a heavy featuring in this game, as much as Umiko and I dislike geese in real life. I also love that Sierra is going around this devastated camp like, you know who I am. Like, and no one knows who she is. I want at the end of this game, someone needs to know who she is. But yeah, I loved putting Skylar on Brun at the end and making it sort of canter away. And I really enjoyed the little bit between Umiko and Fen, where Umiko is trying to show her the frog and be like, hey, it's fine, you know, and before she knows her house is gone, she's inviting Fen to come stay with her. And I'm glad we got to see a signature move. I'm really, really glad. That's 2 left until we get to see them. But other than that,
because the frog!
oh yeah, the frog now. I was saying in chat, is this gonna be like a Dragon Ball fusion style where Umiko and the frog fuse and we have, I don't know, it could be literally anything. Other than that, I'm White Rabbit Pick, and that's where you can find me on Twitter. I do photography and stuff like that, so please feel free to check that out. When I'm not playing on this channel, I'm DMing on this channel, and when I'm not doing either of those things, I'm over on Tales of the Grim, playing in 2 campaigns as well. Yeah, I'm pretty busy at the moment, but I'm loving it. So, it looks like the raid cry is, geese really don't care. I hate geese so much.
I'm so glad that's the raid cry.
Yeah, I don't know who we're raiding at the moment. I'm hoping I will find out in a second. But either way, it's geese really don't care. So, guys, Discord, definitely head over there, and our Discord, like, it's full of this community, and we are so proud of this community. It's awesome. So head over there and chat and just say hi and become part of it. If you want to be part of the game, drop Scrat a DM on Twitter. We have 5-year games this season. One of them is completely booked up, but we've got loads of other systems along with D&D you can try out. This will be up on YouTube very soon, and also you can find the previous sessions on there in the Dynama playlist as well. We are full-time now, and a way to support us is via Patreon, and just thank you so much. The fact that people are supporting us and we can do this, and having everyone a part of it, means so much. And you will also find some really awesome articles on there for free from Renee, so definitely go and give those a read because they're a good read. We have merch via Redbubble, and we also have some awesome sponsors in the form of Bird in the Storm and Mage Hand Press. Other than that, we're going to go and raid Geek Space TV. So send all the love that way, shout at them that geese really don't care, because I think everyone should know that, and keep evoking emotions, everyone, and we'll see you same time next Wednesday. See you later. Bye. Keep waving.